Okay. Good day, everyone. My name is Gideon. I am the Chief Product Officer at Yana. I'm also a Senior Product Designer and Product Researcher. And today I want to discuss the topic designing interconnected product experiences. So how to take how to design products from siloed systems, siloed features into a single seamless customer journey. I think I'll just start with a question or a case study, sort of. Have you ever used a product where all the features feel connected? Like they know what you're trying to do before you even pick the product up, or before you continue from where you left off. That's what this class is about. We're here to sort of explore how to design products that communicate across their own features, how they share context, how they create experiences that feel smart, smooth, personal, not like a bunch of disconnected tools or features glued together. What would be the learning goals of this session? So first is we're going to understand what an interconnected product experience means and why it's the future of user experience design. We're going to learn how to design features that talk to each other and make each other smarter. We're going to create maps of relationship between example features from different applications that we are familiar with. We are going to use user data and context to make experiences feel intelligent and less creepy. We'll be trying to avoid common mistakes when connecting features and understand the system, so we can better plan around data structures, how they are related together, and how to design for a connected system. Now, what's the problem of systems in present day? Let's start with something familiar. Think about using a fitness app, for example, your workout tracker, your meal planner, sleep tracker. Imagine these three things: workout tracker, meal planner, sleep tracker. Imagine they're all in the same application, but they don't communicate with each other. You finish a tough workout and your meal planner is still suggesting you junk food, or you get poor sleep, but your workout feature still pushes you to do hits. These are siloed systems. Each features work fine on their own, but when you think about the system as a whole, they do not help each other add value to the user. Now imagine what the opposite of this looks like. Imagine you wake up after a poor sleep and the workout feature automatically recommends light stretching, or your meal planner automatically adjusts your nutrition for recovery. This means the app adapts to your context. The app takes data from what's going on in your fitness app, what's going on in your sleep timing app, your meal planner, your sleep tracker, gets data from these different ends, communicates with each other, and provides a new value to be able to scale your experience. That's a seamless interconnected experience. Features share context and supports the same user goal together. And that's important when designing great product experiences. Now, what do we mean by interconnected product experience? What are examples of interconnected product experience? Now, in most products, features or present day features are designed in silos, and I'll explain what I mean by that. They have a basic level of connectedness. Some products have levels of connectedness. Great products have high level of connectedness, but most products designed these days, most tools designed these days, they have a basic level of connectedness. And the result is the user journey feels like jumping between rooms instead of, walking through one home, if that analogy makes sense. So an interconnected experience is a type of experience where features share what they know, the user intents, history, preferences, tools that adjust their behavior based on what's happening in other parts of the product. Products that create value together for users that no single feature could create alone. So if you add multiple features in your application, some of these features on their own would perform their designated functionality. But when these features communicate together, they can elevate the experience by adding a new value that the user might not have seen, might not be able to predict would happen, but will be able to add a lot of, will be able to create a lot of impacts for the user's journey. And I'll give you an example. An example is what we can see here, the Google Workspace. So when you schedule a meeting in calendar, it auto suggests a Google Meet link. It attaches your docs, agenda, and even sends reminders to people within the invited to the meeting. These are different tools within the Google Workspace, but the magic isn't just in one feature, say the calendar feature, the docs feature, the reminders. The magic is in the fact that these different tools, these different features, these different products communicate with each other. It's how they work together. So when we're designing products, our job isn't just to design a great feature, it's to design how these features interact with each other, the connections between them. How do we then design interconnected experiences? How do we take products, dissect products, think about design from a different point of view? In current day, most people approach design from a point of view of we are trying to design screens, we are trying to design a user journey from features to features. So if you're designing, say, a task planner app, you want to have your reminders, you want to have the notes, you want to have, like, your schedule, you want to have these different parts of the features, but they all function, they all perform their function. And when it comes to like judging the usability of this design, it's about how these features, how the different functionalities for these different features, how well they work. But in the real sense, if we look at the most successful products in the industry currently, and with the emergence of new technologies like AI, when features that are within a product communicate with each other to add an extra value, it makes the system extremely intelligent to be able to help users skills the experience. And at this point, you are no longer designing these features in silos. You are designing a smooth sailing experience. So it feels like this person is using one app and they're walking through one journey. And that's why it's important. It's important to think about feature mapping, user journey. It's a different design entirely. Designing interconnected products is not the normal UX. It's a different type of UX itself. It's where you take features and not just design them, but you design connectedness in terms of data, in terms of value. And that's the importance of this session, to make us understand how to do that, when to do that, and the importance of doing this. So let's break it down into simple steps. Step one, map out features and their relationships. So take a product, for instance, or take your product if you own a product, and list its main features. Then draw lines between these features that should talk to each other, and ask the following questions. What should feature A tell feature B? What data or action connects them? How can that connection help users save time, add a better experience, add more value, help them stay consistent, and reach their goal faster? And as you can see the example on the slide, if we go through this, so we've got feature A, feature B, what they share, and why it helps. So feature A, for instance, could be on an application that has a search feature. And that same application or that same product has a feed, right? What do these two features share? Topics of interest. When I search, I am declaring things I'm interested in seeing. When I'm looking at my feed, I want to see things that I am interested in. Now, that's what they share, topics of interest. Why do we need to connect these features? When I keep searching for something, we need the system to be able to catch what I'm searching for and be able to log them as interests for this particular user, so that when I'm in my feed, the things I see are things I'm actually interested in. Successful products like Twitter, TikTok, these products leverage on these types of relationships. And that's why you can see that when you interact with certain posts on Twitter, or when you interact with certain posts on TikTok, you get suggested that those types of content. And that's because they are taking information from your search, from the things you interact with, and they are adding those information to your feed. So looking at what those two features share and how it can add more value to you. Another example is maybe in knowledge-based products, we've got like a course section, and then we've got quiz section. What do they share? Under course, they share on that course, you are actually completing a lesson. You're learning a particular topic, subject, language, to be able to like better understand maybe a system, language, a subject. And then you're taking quiz. What's the importance of this quiz? The importance of this quiz is also to test your knowledge of the course, right? What do they share? They share lessons completed. How can we help users scale that system? Imagine we personalize your quiz difficulty based on your performance in the course. So if you are maybe a 3-star rated learner in that course, so consider Duolingo, for instance. If you're learning a particular language and your rating is really good, how can we tailor a quiz that sort of tests, that assesses your proficiency in that language? How can we tailor it to your performance in the course? That's a way to be able to allow two features that would be designed distinctively. How we allow them communicate with each other to add value. How about a shopping or an e-commerce platform? We've got carts, we've got recommendations. What do they share? Products viewed. When I view a product, if I like it, I add it to cart. If I want to buy it, I add it to cart. What do I see? If I don't want to buy it, I don't add it to cart. I just view and I move on. Or if I'm not ready to buy at the moment, I just move on. Now, what are recommendations? Recommendations show you more things like the things you're interested in. Now, what they share is products viewed. Now, how can your cart communicate with recommendations? It can show you smarter upsells. So if I am used to checking, maybe I'm always checking for gadgets like headsets, phones, laptops. I get to see that in my recommendations, and that's how your cart could speak to your recommendations. And we have an interconnected system that sort of guides you through a single flow. This map helps you see gaps in your product or in the product you're designing. It helps you see gaps where the products feel disconnected or repetitive. So when you take an exercise, for example, when you have a product that you are designing or building, and then you list out all the features and you try to check out the connectedness between these features, you can easily see gaps within the system. You can see things that are missing that you need to add to the product. You can see experience gaps. You can see where the product feels disconnected. You can see repetitive features, and you can optimize your list of features. You can optimize your offerings. You can optimize the experience of these different features, and then connect them to be able to serve a holistic, like a big single function. Now, all these functions, all these features have different functions, but as a whole, if you're building a financial application, maybe you're building a budgeting application, it's the sole function of this product is to help people spend better, to improve spending habits. Now, different functionalities, different features in the application, like maybe ports, savings, budget allocation. These different things could be features in a budgeting product. But when you design them to be connected, it gives the user a holistic view that, oh, at the end of the day, when I move through the entire user journey of this product, it feels like all I am trying to do is to spend better. And that's why it's important to consider the interconnectedness of the features within your product. Step 2, after mapping out these features is think about shared context of these different features. Use those shared context. So when features talk, you want to be able to, ask the following questions like, what was the user doing? What have they already completed? And what's their goal right now? So if a user is using a particular feature, for instance, from the map that we just went through, if a user if a user was doing a course, that's what the user was doing. So we're trying to define a context around the value we're trying to create through the interconnectedness. So if a user was taking a course, that's what they were doing. What have they completed? If they now complete that course, that's step 2, adding the context of course started, course completed, course done. Now, what's their goal right now? Their goal is to take a quiz, and their goal is to pass the quiz to get a better experience, learning experience by taking the quiz and measuring their proficiency. Now, having understood these 3 different things, the whole context behind, you can now see what they were doing, what they've completed, how those 2 things can affect their new goal, which is the quiz. How can we tailor their quiz to their proficiency to be able to drive not just to be able to improve the ease of use, but also to be able to drive subconscious motivation while using the product. Because when you use products like your Apple Health product, there's a reason why you want to always use this product, and that's because every single feature in this product, they inform, they speak to each other, they inform each other about what's going on. Your height data communicates with your feeding data, and they sort of like produce information about calories, what you're supposed to consume, what's good for you, what's not good for you, and that's how you build great products. Now, I'll give a brief example. So imagine if I think we're all familiar with Figma, right? So imagine if you as a user, if you start designing something on Figma and you use a frame size of a slide presentation, for instance. So you open up your Figma and you select slide presentation frame. You place it in your blank canvas. Imagine Figma reads that and suggests that it looks like you are trying to design a slide presentation. Do you want to move this project to Figma slides instead? That's a way of using the frame, communicating the frame size in the Figma design file is now communicating with the entire part of the product and making the product give you suggestions like what were you doing? You were trying to design. What have you just done? You've just pasted a frame that is of the same size with a slide presentation. What's your next goal? We assume that your next goal is you are trying to design a presentation. Now, what's the best environment to be able to design a presentation? On Figma slides. Now, how do we then help you get the best of the operation that the action you're trying to perform? It's by suggesting to you that this is a better, from what we've seen you do, this is a better environment for you to perform the next action. And remember, it's going to be a prompt, a pop-up. Would you like to do this? Because eventually you might not want to do this. So you can always say, oh, yes, let's do this. Oh, I'll stay here. But what it gives the user, it gives an idea of the fact that every single part of the product is functioning together. Yeah, and that's a simple explanation of, interconnected products. And if you look at that, it's sort of a helpful way of having features share context and providing extra value. The third step would be to design for learning between features. Now, this is where things get intelligent. When one feature collects insights, other features can use these insights to personalize or simplify experiences. I'll give an example. In a music app, just a music app in general now, there's going to be a discover feature. There's going to be like, say, a radio feature, and there's going to be like the home feature, right? Now, think about this. The discover feature learns what you like in a music application. The radio feature builds a playlist from your taste that the insights discover has collected from you. The radio feature now builds playlists from that taste. Now, what does the home feature do? What does the home feed now do? The home feed updates automatically based on related genre, related artists by learning from your discover infused with your radio. This way, these different features are learning from each other and they are making the product intelligent. The product is adjusting based on context. The product is adjusting based on users' inputs, based on users' needs, based on users' wants. The more these features learn from each other, the smarter and the more seamless the entire product becomes. But it's important to always keep in mind that you want to keep the users in control every single time. Sometimes trying to design interconnected systems, you run into the problem of trying to design an extremely smart system that sort of takes the user as a secondary decision maker on the platform, even though it's built on the inputs of the user, the behavior of the user. At the end of the day, when your product continues to make these changes rapidly without necessarily showing the users why or prompting the users where need be, it feels like the user has lost control of the system. You want to let them know why something has changed, how it changes, and how it can benefit them. And you want to prompt them if they want certain types of changes. For instance, like the Figma example I gave, that was more like transitioning them from the Figma design to Figma slides. It's more like a disruptive flow from the Figma designs, moving them into Figma slides. It's something you want to give a prompt instead of moving them automatically to the Figma slides, because, hey, they might not be trying to design slides at all, depending on, based on the capability of Figma itself and how designing a particular size does not necessarily mean you're designing for a particular functionality. I'll give real life examples. I'll give real life examples of products that exist currently. How, if you want to take case studies, real life case studies of products that are properly implementing features, ensuring that they are interconnected. We want to take Spotify or Apple as examples, right? These are products that exist. They are free. You can go into this product, understand how these different features work. Interestingly, I can talk on both of them. So Spotify, for instance, let's say listening behavior is your feature A, right? Your listening behavior influences your discover weekly, which is the feature B. Your likes, which is your feature C, shapes your playlist, which is your feature D. Now, every feature learns from one another and makes the product feel personalized and alive. Let's take a look at the Apple ecosystem. You start a note on your Notes app, for instance. You open the Notes app on your device, right? And you type in a date. Maybe you say, I want to buy blah 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 on the 10th of August. You type in that date, and what happens automatically is that date gets highlighted and prompts if you want to, suggest that you set a reminder for what you've just typed in your Notes app. Now, the Notes app is one feature. The reminder app on the iOS on the iPhone is another different application, right? This is a way of both of them communicating together. The system has listened to the dates that I just added to the note, and then suggest that I set a reminder and schedule for that date, right? While I am doing that, if I am calling a friend on, say, iMessage while editing that note, it suggests that I collaborate with that person. If you're familiar with the Apple ecosystem, you understand what I'm saying. While editing down notes on the code, you see at the top that, do you want to collaborate with this person? If you decide to collaborate with that person gets added to the reminder, gets added to the notes. And in the morning of that day, the set date, right, your reminder pops up that, hey, you said you're going to do this. That reminder just doesn't pop up alone, it pops up with a note. You know, the notes, that note comes up with the reminder. And it also refers you to the people that you've collaborated with on that entire flow. And that sort of explains the single all-round user journey, consistent experience, but the experience is context aware. This is system level interconnection, right? It's sort of like thinking about, you know, continuity as a form of UX, you know, thinking about continuity as a user experience on its own. Now, a mini exercise that you can, you know, sort of practice on your own to be able to like sharpen or hone your skills of designing smart features, interconnected features, right? The goal here is you're trying to connect two features in one product so they share context. So what you can do is, you know, you pick a product you use often, say maybe LinkedIn, Duolingo, Notion, Figma, you know, whatever. Choose two features that you know in this product that don't currently, you know, talk. They don't currently communicate with each other. Imagine how they could share context to help the user more. That's sort of like the take home. That's the exercise. That these are things you can do. These are practices that you can do to be able to understand what designing connected system mean, and you can then take this into your life projects that you're building. Now, when you're doing this exercise, you want to write it out like this. You know, you want to have something like your feature A, the way, you know, the way we've been going through it in the class. You want to have feature A, LinkedIn learning. So an example would be LinkedIn, for instance. And say LinkedIn learning is feature A. Feature B is job search. Now you can see how distinct these two features are. LinkedIn learning is you pick up a particular course, a skill that you want to get better at, and then you learn that. For those of you familiar with LinkedIn, how LinkedIn works. So we've got that. Feature B is job search. Now, what can they share? What they can share is courses completed. How many courses have you completed in your LinkedIn learning? Now, if you've done LinkedIn learning and we know how many courses you've completed in LinkedIn learning, we can now suggest jobs based on the skills you've learned in LinkedIn learning. And that way, LinkedIn learning communicates with the job search feature. Now, we can see how everything is sort of like it's an all-round experience, right? We have Duolingo lessons, for instance, and we have stories, Duolingo stories. What they share is words learned, right? If we take the words you've learned from your Duolingo lessons, we can now adapt, you know, we can let the stories feature adapt to your vocabulary. So for instance, say you want to now you want to read a particular story. So say you're learning French and now you're trying to read an entire story in French, right? We know the words that you've learned. We can create a story for you based off those words that you've learned. So it's going to be a culmination of words that you've already learned to be able to make a story. So the stories can adapt to the vocabulary that you've just learned. Take 3 to 5 minutes to fill this out. Then you can sort of like discuss how it changes the user experience. You can do this alone. You can do this with friends. You can do this with a group of people. If once again, it feels like you don't, you're not really sure about this, about the features, about how they communicate with each other, You can look at the examples that I've given again. We've got Spotify, we've got Apple. These are, product giants that you can leverage on the knowledge that they've already they already have, building different features. Dissect Spotify and its features, dissect the Apple ecosystem, take a look at them, see the features, see how they communicate, see the intensity of the communication, see how well they communicate, and leverage on this to help make decision about your product, to help make decision about this assignment, this exercise that I'm giving. And that way you can better understand how to design interconnected systems and then leverage them in your own products. Now, what are the key takeaways from designing interconnected systems, right? You don't design features in isolation. What you want to do is you want to design relationships between these features. Now, currently we have AI being in the market for a couple of years now. And one of the things that we use AI to do, one of the ways we leverage AI, the functionality in products, is we use AI to help make a system smart, to help provide extra value in a product for users, right? So I'll give an example. OpenAI launched GPT Atlas. That's their web browser, right? And what happens now is you can now browse, and then the AI can make sense of your browsing history, whatever you're looking at the moment. You can highlight things and ask for context. You can highlight things, ask for explanations. Not just that, certain products exist currently where you have certain features in that product, and then the AI sort of learns from one feature, learns from another feature, creates a new value. Now, it's easy to run into the idea that the entire, when we're talking about interconnected systems, it's something that AI can do for us. So there's no reason to spend time to do that ourselves, because let's be real. A high percentage of what AI will do in products currently is to make those products smarter by leveraging on data from different points of the product and making sense of users, automating manual activities, and driving new value, right? But imagine a product that was designed from the scratch, keeping the interconnectedness of the products in mind. The product on its own is smart. Now imagine leveraging the functionality of AI on this product. It becomes extremely smart. Great user experience. The products already add value to each other. They already communicate with each other. And AI now sits in between that system to be able to create. So imagine feature A, feature B connected by a value. Now imagine adding AI to it, encompassing feature A, feature B, and the new value it's creating. AI can scale the new value to give more value by taking that new value, gathering data from the internet that the LLM's been exposed to, and providing extra context, extra value to that product. So the value you can provide users, they are limitless, as long as you consider how to design a cohesive user experience, a cohesive product. You don't want to design products in isolation. You want to design the relationships between them. Now, it might look like I've been learning UX. I've been going through the different UX processes, double diagram, and there are set ways that I already know how to approach UX. This is sort of like an extra. What time do I have to, sit back, take products, take different features within the product I'm designing, and start thinking of connectedness between these products? It's more time. This looks like something new I have to learn. Is it worth, my time? from this session, I hope you understand that it's worth your time if you want to build great experiences. But also, it's important to add this to your UX process, to your, regular UX process. By default, when you're thinking about the product, you want to think connectedness in the features of this product. Now, if you have added this process to your daily UX practice, it comes natural when you're thinking about, say, a credit score, for instance, and you're thinking about credit insights. You can already see how they are connected. That, based on the credit score, we can provide this credit insight. And based on this credit insight, we can offer this type of, other feature, like we can recommend these credit providers for users. And that's how you can continue to think, stretch your mind, stretch the capability of the system. And it doesn't matter if the product, for instance, can do a whole lot of things. And in the MVP, we are trying to, stick to certain features. Even when sticking to those features within an MVP, it can still add, we can still add extra value within that MVP that does not necessarily have to go out of scope. So this is not a problem of scope. This is not a problem of stripping down functionalities. This is not a problem of stripping down features. This is a way to properly think about features and how they serve the users. Secondly, shared context equals smarter experience. Like I've been saying in this session, when features talk, when features can read events and share context, the experience becomes smarter. The products provide guidance for the users, even when the users don't know they need guidance, and more value is added. That wouldn't have been like, so the system becomes automatically proactive. Users don't have to prompt things for things to happen when the product can predict that this is about to happen. So it's like the type of proactive UX using prediction patterns based on the context of the user input and the user behavior within the system. Thirdly, transparency and control keeps smart systems from feeling creepy. Now, the example I gave earlier about designing on Figma. So imagine you were doing that and automatically you just end up on the Figma slides product and you're like, how did I get here? I was working on the Figma design part of things. It starts becoming creepy, less user experience friendly, and more forceful. You want to be transparent. You want to communicate how and why these suggestions, these automations, these are how this, product interaction, you want to explain how and why they're happening, but also you want to give the user control, right? Another example is we've got something called memories on ChatGPT. So sometimes when you hop on your ChatGPT and you ask questions, it sort of picks up from when you left off, even when you are opening the new chat, right? But then if you go to your settings, you can decide to toggle off memory. Why is this available for you? It's to give the users a level of control within the system that, yeah, memory is great. It's a way of my different chats communicating with each other, logging into the system to understand that, oh, if I've asked a question previously, if I say, hi, ChatGPT, I love to hike a lot. I want you to give me some hiking tips, blah, blah, blah. It sort of saves it to memory that Gideon loves hiking. And the next time I come to ChatGPT to ask a question related to hiking, it says, oh, I remember you love hiking. And the last time we discussed about this, you mentioned this. Is this related to this? The system, that an already smart system becomes smarter due to memories. But as a user, I might not want that. I might not want the memories thing. So I need to be able to have control to be able to turn things like that off. Just like the Figma example I gave, a prompt telling the user, it seems like you're trying to design a presentation slide. Do you want to do this in Figma slide? Then you have like buttons, one saying proceed to Figma slide. Another one telling you that no, remain in the design. And then sort of like a third action telling you that don't show this again. And the reason why the don't show this again option is very important is because the system was designed in a way to always prompt you to move to the Figma slide or a suggestion, right? It's designed that way to ensure that whenever you are trying to design a presentation, it moves you to the best environments to do that. However, if I have decided that I want to do this in Figma design, I want to be able to prompt or to take an action to tell the system that I don't want to see this suggestion again, because I can make this decision on my own. Already gives the user an idea of, oh, Figma slides is the best place to design slides. So whenever I'm coming to Figma to design a presentation slide, I'm not doing that in the Figma design anymore. I'm going to the Figma slides to do that. Why? Because I now know from the way the system is communicating with me, that's an added value for me, but I don't want to see the model pop up every time I do maybe 1920 by 1080 size frame in the Figma design file. Because what if I just want to design, maybe I want to do a graphic design or a design that's for a particular type of screen. I don't want to have to see this model every time. So that's the importance of giving users control, agency over the system. So it's like telling the users that you can collaborate with this system, you can work hand in hand with this product to, drive the value that you need. Always ask, how can this feature make another one more useful? And that's one of the most important questions from all the things we've been saying today. How can feature A make feature B better? How can feature A provide more value to feature B? How can feature A and feature B communicate? What data do they have in common? And that's why it's important as designers to be able to understand systems, to learn systems, understand how systems work, understand data. When you look at a system, and I know a lot of designers frown on getting involved with the engineering side of things, but it's important that you do that, because you never get to become a great designer if you don't understand how the system works. When you understand how the system works, you can understand the boundary, the constraints of the system, and design around those constraints, and then in the process defeat those constraints, create an illusion that defeats those constraints. So an instance is, if you understand how APIs work, if you understand payloads, you understand that, oh, feature A has these types of data, and feature B has these types of data. What data are in common? What data can be moved from this point to this point? And how can it add a new value, or so to say, a new experience, a cohesive experience for the users? And that's the purpose of this lesson. Once again, just to be clear, interconnected design is not just about code. It's not just about data, like I just said. It's about helping the users feel understood in a broad sense. So when I'm using a product, I want to feel understood. If I'm using Spotify, if I'm always playing this genre of music, I want Spotify to tell me that I hear you, and because you always do this, I have provided this for you. I want the Apple ecosystem to be able to make certain decisions for me. If I write in a note and I input a date, it shows that that date is important. I want this to be able to prompt me into creating something out of that interaction. If I am using a fitness app that has a sleep timer, or sleep tracker, also has a meal planner application, I want it to be able to, take information from my sleep tracker, knowing how long I've slept today, recommending exercises, workouts that fits to that sleep pattern that I just had maybe this week, and also recommend meals that sort of go with that entire journey. I want to feel understood, and as a result of that, I want this entire flow to elevate my experience and understanding of this product. That's what we are trying to achieve when we think about interconnected designs. Another optional, take home would be to pick one application that you use daily, sketch out three ways the features could communicate to each other to make your experience smoother. I mentioned the banking application earlier. It could be, three features like spending, savings, budget. How can you make those three things feel more intelligent? When you take this exercise, and not just taking the exercises to understand how they are connected, but also like doing the design of, the back of that, you begin to see how your knowledge of user experience, how your approach to designing the user experience of a system, how it has scaled from just designing, screens, buttons, components, to actually designing an encompassing experience for users, dictating how they use the system, the type of control they have over the system. To wrap this up, I'd say the future of UX isn't just designing interfaces. It's designing systems that collaborate, designing systems that within themselves collaborate with each other, the features collaborate with each other, but also the users collaborate with the products, the tools. When features work together, users don't notice the handoffs. They don't notice that, oh, I just moved from feature A to feature B. I just stopped using feature A. Now I'm on feature B. What they feel is a single connected flow, right? Like the Apple ecosystem that I explained earlier. I was using the Notes application. I entered the dates. All of a sudden, I'm prompted to set a reminder for that date. It doesn't feel like I left the Notes app to go to the reminder app. No, it feels like from writing the notes, I took a reminder. I created a reminder of that note. And when I'm on a call with someone and I'm working on that note, it also does feel like I'm done with the notes. I move to the call. I speak to this person about what I wrote in the notes. I go back to the note. No, it feels like while writing the notes, I'm on a call. I can collaborate with who I'm speaking with, and that person automatically can get added to whatever this reminder schedule is. And that sort of makes an entire experience. When the day of when the reminder, the scheduled dates, on the day of the scheduled dates, I get to see the note, I get to see the reminder. This doesn't feel like, this doesn't feel like me explaining different features, right? It feels like I'm explaining a single flow, but they are different features. So that's the future of UX. We are designing interconnected systems. We are designing intelligent systems. We are designing systems that collaborate. We are not just designing screens. We're not just designing interfaces. Understanding this, keeping in mind that every single experience that's designed, every single feature, every single interaction in a system can add value to another within the same system. Now, we're not even talking about external value. We're talking about within the system. If we take a look at one of the new things that got launched by OpenAI, where you can now prompt other applications from ChatGPT. You can prompt Spotify from ChatGPT. You can prompt Expedia from ChatGPT. These are ways of ChatGPT communicating with other platforms, other products to provide, value. Now, that's not interconnection within that. That's not connectedness within the chat itself. That's connectedness with external products, right? But imagine if ChatGPT hasn't nailed the interconnection, the interconnectedness in their own application. It doesn't set a good foundation to be able to build connecting with other platforms inside of the app. So the more you design, how well you design, the features within a product, that could lay a proper foundation for external integrations on your product. So you want to think about this, and the key point is designing a flow, a user journey that seems meaningful, that adds value to the users. Yeah, that's it for this session. Thank you for attending. If anyone wants to reach out with results of their exercises, you can always do that by reaching out to me, and we can sort of walk through. If you have questions, we can walk through how to better approach this and how to become better at designing interconnected systems. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Gideon.
Yes, thank you very
Well
much.
done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sure.
All right. So have a great day.
Yeah, and you too. Have a good day, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.